to Speed Scene Live, the #1 online drag racing TV show and the only show dedicated to the sportsman racer. Brought to you by Curry Rear Ends, M&H Tires, Hedman Hustler Headers, Aeromotive Fuel Systems, and TheFote.com. With your hosts, Diana Might, Bruce Barker, Scott Lucky Hudson, Alex the Cargirl Rogio, Hot Rod Bob Beck, plus Dar Hawthorne and Donnie Couch.
Oh yeah, and it's another Tuesday night. You're live with Diana Might. We've got Scott Lucky Hudson here on my left.
Yeah,
and Bob Beck over there holding down everything. And of course, our one-handed wonder, Bruce Barker, behind the thing. Yeah, there he is. He's still a little crippled today, but we're bearing with him.
You know, in honor of Jurassic World, I'm a Tyrannosaurus Rex.
yeah.
Oh, you poor baby.
That's what I got going.
Well, we've got a lot going on tonight. We're going to talk with Jeg Coughlin from Jegs Mail Order about racing and a special charity he is involved with. He did a great thing at the Ultimate 64 Big Buck Drag Race. Let's see. I think we're going to be watching some of that here, some of that video from.
That was it right there, Dynamite. That was a bird's eye view of the
Mountain Park Dragway.
Yeah, in Clay City, Kentucky.
Ooh.
A great track. Wonderful people, really a nice place to race.
Great.
You'll have to check it out sometime. We're also going to touch base with one of the best sportsman racers around, Tommy Phillips, a multiple winner, Super Gas, Super Comp. I think he's got a stock and a super stock car. He's won several world championships, and he's going to come on tonight and talk to us. And Bob, Hot Rod Bob Beck,
Yes.
in your world of gas, who will you be talking about?
We're going to be talking to the king of Bubbletop cars. We're going to get into customizing in the days of old. And currently, the museum that's open, it is Darryl Starbird, we'll be calling in.
Ooh, I can't wait to see some of those images and hear Mr. Starbird speak about them. Yes. Hey, coming up on the show, not necessarily tonight, you know, every episode is packed, so we want to let you know what's coming up in future weeks. The most badass Camaro in the world, the Big Red Camaro. Also, Top Fuel Funny Car driver Dale Pulte and Pro Mod racer Dina Parisi and more. We're also going to be talking about there's a new race and a new class, the Vintage 760, that we're going to be hearing about. So that's all coming up on future episodes.
That is cool. You know, that's nice to have stuff happening all the time. Now, we're showing you this video. You see the beautiful grass pits and the trees. This was a track that they held the Ultimate 64 race at. And Dynamite, let's bring Jeg Coughlin Jr. onto the show now.
Well, let's go to line 1 and welcome Jeg to the show. Jeg, welcome to Speed Scene Live.
Hey, thank you. Great to be on tonight.
Well, Jeg, we appreciate having you on. This is Lucky, and it was a pleasure to get a chance to meet you and talk to you at Clay City. And, I was really impressed with that track out there, that Mountain Park Dragway.
Yeah, they do a really nice job at Mountain Park Dragway, and Kelly Estes and the entire Ultimate 64 group. He and his partner Randy Helton do a nice job, and it's a great time for bracket racing right now because there are so many premier races going on around the country, and really coast to coast, and all the NHRA and IHRA sanctioned tracks have their own weekly programs, and it's great to see the sport really, really doing well at that level. And as you witnessed there firsthand, it was a great event, great competition, and great fun.
Well, somebody took home, let's see, what was his name right here? I've got Ken Underwood won the 10K and the 50K.
Wow.
Yeah.
And so he went home with a lot of money. And, Luke Bugaki won the Friday 10K, and everybody knows his name. He's a very well-accomplished racer. And, it was really great. All these great. Ron Lane won some money. But we got some photos here of the track, and it kind of shows the rural area. Here's one right here that shows my weather station showing 69% humidity, which is something all the West Coast racers love to see, because they don't get to see that. But you know what? That's not too bad.
Oh,
Everybody loves to see this.
Yes. Now, Jeg, I don't know if you were there for the barbecue. There was a young man by the name of Smurf that built this fantastic barbecue and or smoker, I guess I should actually call it. And he had some great stuff cooking, and man, it was really nice, really a nice event. I got to tell you, the people you mentioned, Kelly and Randy and everybody out there was so nice, so accommodating. Jeg, they seem like they run this race, but their emphasis is to make sure that the racers are happy.
Well, no doubt. Like in any business, customer service is certainly key and very important. And as I mentioned a moment ago, with so many great races going on, it's neat to see each one of them just continuing to get better. And in these guys' case, they're racers. They've been racers for a long, long time, and they've got a great product. We've been going to their race on and off in the entire 10 years since they've started the Ultimate 64, and look forward to it every chance we can.
And it was packed. There were a ton of racers, and a lot of people double entered. And here's a shot of one of the smoothie slushy machines.
A refreshment center.
Refreshment center.
Yes.
I like the handle on there.
Yeah, look at the vice grip.
Yeah.
That must be Jeff Burns' famous slushy machine, if I had to guess.
Yes. I had one because I thought, this is nice, cool, refreshing. Woo, boy, that was that was some strong stuff.
High octane, huh?
Yeah, high octane. And the race was fantastic. The people were nice. They raced all night long. They raced, I think, one morning they raced till 5:45 the next morning.
Yeah, it was wild. They had some unforeseen circumstances that popped up, and when you've got a schedule and you've got that number of races to fit in over just the course of 3 short days, they become real short. I thought they did as good a job as they could, without just maybe scratching a race. And everyone came there to race the 310s, and many of them came there for the big 50,000 to win race, and also the 2 specialty races that they had. So and they got 100% of it in. We were there till the wee hours of Sunday evening, and before we headed home, and we had some good success on track. My nephew Troy Jr. did real well. He got to semifinals in the 50K race, and
nice.
Got beat by Ron Lane in one of the 8,000 to win races. And then my longtime roommate and now lives transplant from Florida up here to Ohio, Kenny Underwood, just stole the show. He raced into the daylight 2 days in a row where the sun was coming up, and in the midst of that, turned in a semifinal finish in the first 10, won the 50 grand the next day, and then won the 10 grand, Saturday's 10 grand, which rolled into about 5 a.m. on Sunday. So it was a pretty good weekend.
Yeah,
overall.
He was hot that day.
That
weekend.
I think that's really impressive that the track continues to run until the races are all done. Here on the West Coast, we don't get that luxury. A lot of times, the tracks don't have lights. The sun goes down, and we're done for the day. But you know what? Back there, they don't give up. They just keep going and going until the race is done. It doesn't matter what time it is. I was impressed with that.
Me too.
There's a lot of tracks that have curfews like they do out west and or other circumstances. But when the going gets tough, they bear down and make it happen. And it was a fun race.
And Kelly worked his butt off all weekend. His son chipped in and was running the back of the lane sometimes, and they did a great job. I can't say enough good things about him. If any racer out there has wanted to go and be part of the Ultimate 64 and race with some of the best racers in the country, including Jeg, what? This is a great race to go to, because from the minute you roll in the gate to the minute you roll out, you feel appreciated. You feel like they want you to be there. They want you to be happy. They want you to race and eat and have a good time. And I feel that they totally delivered. And even though they had some rain and they had a couple setbacks, they didn't let it discourage them. They didn't let it stop them. They said, we're running this sucker till we're done, and we don't care about anything else. But, you know, Jeg, one of the reasons I wanted to talk to you so much is you did a really cool thing. You brought your car out one part during the evening, and this is that really cool Nova wagon that you built, which is a, it's a bracket car, and I think you built the whole car using parts from Jegs mail order, didn't you?
Yeah, we sure did. When I stepped away from the Pro Stock ranks at the end of 2005, my then roommate, Kenny Underwood, who we were just talking about, sat up many nights, going through Jegs.com, going through the catalog and turning pages and adding stuff to our cart and, just kind of building an ultimate wish list to build what we were trying to create in the ultimate bracket machine. And, we found a 67 Chevy 2 wagon. It was a Colorado car on the road. It'd been banged up, of course, and we picked it up and we did the full transformation. The guys at Jegster here under our umbrella at Jegs did the complete tube chassis from front to rear. Everything's steel. The floor pan is all steel and all sealed, so it's pretty quiet. Very rarely do you catch any fumes inside. We built it to be the ultimate bracket car, but also had the option to go on the street. And if you put some DOT slicks on it, it's got a plate, and away you go.
How fast is it in the quarter or the eighth?
Well, the quarter, it'll run probably high nines at like 135, and in the eighth mile it runs typically 630s, 640s.
It's a great car. Great
car.
Yeah,
it's a fun ride, and we've had it at some of the bigger races where we've run the Pro Stock car in the past, and just had it out on display. And it's funny to see people tripping over everything to get to that car to check it out. It's kind of got a rustic, almost rat rod look to it. The old story that something had to give. The timeline was pushing. We were actually trying to get it ready for the Ultimate 64 in 2006, which was its maiden voyage, and we didn't have time to paint the car. And I hung up with our painter at Custom Motorsports Painting, J.R. Hill, and I said, he's like, man, I just don't have time to get this done. I'm like, well, that's the case. That's the case. He says, I can shoot it in primer, and then we'll just finish it after your event. And so I said, okay. And we hung up, and about a little light bulb went off in my head. I rang him right back. I said, how about, can we at least do a flat black primer? And he's like, yeah, I can get some of that. And sprayed it flat black, and we haven't touched it since. And, it shows its scars, but it's got some cool character.
Well, you can go back and run super gas with that thing at 990.
Yeah, you could. It probably barely would catch the 990 index if we really we'd have to turn on it a little bit. Or this thing is 3,500 pounds with me in it. It's I think we've got like a 488 gear in it in a great big super comp style tire. So it's over-tired, under-geared, and way underpowered. So
it'd make a perfect super street car, though.
Yeah, it would be a great super street car. In fact, my brother and Kenny both have raced it in super street a little bit, and my niece Megan. So it's been a little family car.
So does it have all the glass in it, or is there any plexiglass there?
No, it's all they're all glass windows,
yeah.
And we had to replace the windshield. But other than that, they're all the original.
So
original,
that would
as far as we know.
That would take away from a lot of the weight too if you added plexiglass windows.
Yeah,
I'm sure you know where to get those too, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it wasn't for a lack. We were trying to keep it, still kind of that street look, and it's got the full steel bumpers on it, and we put a steel hood on it instead of one of the glass hoods. So we didn't spare any weight. It was the opposite of a Pro Stock car.
But it is cool looking. I mean, that is a neat cruiser.
Well, one of the things besides looking cool, though, is you use this car as a way to sort of promote the Jegs Cancer Foundation, the Jegs Foundation for Cancer Research. Yep. And you got the opportunity to take this young lady who was out there, and she won, I guess, she was picked out of like a raffle, or she won the opportunity to come and actually ride with you in the car. A young lady by the name of Josie Combe.
Yeah.
And we've got some shots of Kelly bringing out a Jegs fire suit jacket and putting her in it. And, it's such a cool thing because this young lady just happened to be a cancer survivor. She had fought cancer and she had beat it. And everybody that put in, you bought a chance for the raffle. All that money goes straight to the Jegs Foundation for Cancer Research. And the Jegs the James Cancer Hospital actually is the place where you guys spend a lot of your money, and they actually renamed part of their hospital the Jegs Foundation lobby.
Yep.
That's a really cool deal, In fact, Bruce has a short video here, promotional video, but everybody can relate to somebody that has cancer, has beat cancer, is fighting cancer, and it's nice to see Jegs Mail Order and you and your family get behind this as a fundraiser.
Well, we've had a lot of like any family, as you mentioned, we've had cancer in the family, and some we've been able to prolong and prevent, and others we've lost along the way, unfortunately. But so it's been cancer's been near and dear to our heart, and being fortunate here in Central Ohio and in the Columbus, Ohio area to have one of the top NCI recognized hospitals with Ohio State University and the James Cancer Center right here in our backyard, just gave us a very neat opportunity to get involved. And since the inception, just over 12 years now since we started the Jegs Foundation, we've been able to contribute nearly just over $12 million in contributions towards the James Cancer Hospital, also Nationwide Children's Hospital here in Columbus, Ohio, and we've also worked with the Ireland Cancer Center and Rainbow Babies and Pediatrics in the Cleveland area. But primarily we've been with Ohio State here, and as you mentioned, just recently they just finished a 1 million square foot new facility, both patient care and research facility, which is very unique, where every other floor will be patient care and administrative, and the next floor would be patient care and actual research, actual laboratories on the floors that they take care of the patients. And that just opened up this past December, and it was over a $1 billion project that the Ohio State's very proud of, and it's put them near the top of the map, if not the top, in cancer research and patient care. So that is something that we're extremely proud of, and we have the millions of customers and supporters to thank for that. Jegs is going into our 55th year, and we've always valued ourselves on unbelievable selection, value, and support, and we have the millions of customers to thank for that. And I think the ride that we gave to Josie there on Saturday evening of the Ultimate 64, I've only done one of those rides one time prior, and that was at the 06 Ultimate 64. And so I really don't know what to expect, but to see the excitement that she had, some of the nervousness that she had. I think her husband was equally as nervous and enjoying it as well, honestly. But the ride we took and the little chats we had were really neat, and we certainly hope she stays on a great path to recovery and stays healthy and leads a great life. So but the ride we made down that 8th mile drag strip is one that I'll remember much longer than it certainly took us to get down.
Well, I'm sure she'll remember it for a long time. That was a big day for her, and you could tell she was thrilled. In fact, I think Bruce has a short video clip. Here you are in the burnout box, and for people that don't drive race cars, the burnout is half the fun of the race. You get to make a lot of noise and smoke, and it's just plain fun. In addition to being something you need to do. But that Nova hauled, and you did not back off. You didn't putt down the track. You laid into it. You let go of that trans brake. You were gone. I'm sure she was laid back into the seat, and her heart was beating 100 miles a minute.
It was. She was pretty fired up. she said she wanted me to stand on it, so that we did, and we eased down the track, and we turned around on the track and actually came back up the track, and the car's got a full car stereo in it. We had a little Nickelback jamming, and
Nice.
we're just having a great time, man.
And the video's all of the car, but everybody at the track, all the stands, all the racers, everybody crowded around. Everybody wanted to see, and everybody was cheering and thumbs up and smiles. And, there was a lot of love projected towards this young lady and you and this whole program. And, the fundraising is so appreciated, and everything that your family does to with the Jegs Foundation is so appreciated. You don't have to do that, and you do it in a big way. And that really makes an impression with a lot of people, because a lot of people would like to help and they just don't have the ways and means. And luckily, thank God, your family does, and you've put your money where your mouth is, and you've really stepped up. So, racers are loyal to other racers, and they really appreciate everything that Jegs Mail Order and your entire family has done.
Well, thank you. We certainly appreciate it, and enjoy the many partnerships we've been able to create, and all the great fans and friends we've made out there. And love to think we got many more years to come. So,
well, Jeg, appreciate you calling in. I want to thank Kelly and everybody involved with the Ultimate 64, and I want to thank you for coming down with your whole family. Your wife, your baby, everybody was out there at the race. Everybody hung out at the track. It was just a great example of Kentucky hospitality. Everybody out there was really wonderful to me coming out there. A West Coast driver coming out, and I want to let racers know, Ultimate 64, it happens every year. Put it on your radar. Don't miss the next one. I mean, we had racers coming from Texas, from Las Vegas. I had one racer fly out from Sacramento driving somebody's car. It's a big deal. It's a well-run race, and who knows, maybe, just maybe, you might win a chance to possibly take a pass with Jeg and his Nova someday, Hey,
that'd be cool. I wouldn't mind doing it again. We had a blast with it, and we talked about some of the unforeseen circumstances that drug the race into the night. That's not the norm there. Typically, the band's playing on Thursday night, having a great time, and as you said, everyone's just hanging out, having a good time, and that made it a little more difficult this year with the way the racing was going on, but still just a spectacular event.
Well, Jeg, thanks again for calling in, and it was a pleasure and honor to talk to you, and we'll stay in touch.
Likewise. Have a great night, all.
All right.
Bye-bye.
That was Jeg Coughlin from Jegs Mail Order. You can find them online. Great place to buy parts. But let's go to Hot Rod Bob Beck, because, custom car guys need parts, right?
That's right. And they make them too. Hi, I'm Bob Beck, and you've got gas here on Speed Scene Live. With us is a man that's been called the Bubbletop King. He started the craze, I believe, back in the 50s. And, Darryl is on the phone with us. Darryl Starbird. I was in my first car accident because of your Predicta. I was driving down the street, and there it was sitting in a gas station. And I had to turn to look at it, and I forgot I was driving, and I plowed into the back of a car.
Oh,
but that is just one of your most famous cars. Darryl, how are you doing tonight?
Doing great, Bob. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah, I always remember that car, and I was 17 years old and saw it in a gas station, and it just caught my eye, and I had a look and go, I know that car. I'd seen the models, I'd seen the car in shows, and bam. And that car pretty much put you on the map in a big way, didn't it?
Yeah, right. Of course, I'd been in business several years at that point, but when I built the Predicta, which was, of course, the Bubbletop car, like you say, that kind of got me put on a national level along with the other great customizers. So,
now I was looking at your website. You built well over 100 cars, and you
actually I built almost 200 cars over the years. I have a museum, of course, National Rod and Custom Hall of Fame, and I have 30 cars that I built in the museum, and documented on the walls I have over 100 cars that I've built over the years. So
And we've seen, everyone, once they see them, then they can really associate you with those cars, because all of your cars, you've had so many cars on the cover of magazines, and they are the cars to beat in the championship show circuit.
Right. I've probably been on over 100 magazines in total over the last 60 years. So I've had about every national magazine there is, automotive magazine, as well as many, many magazines overseas, Germany, well, you name it. I actually toured 6 cars through Europe in the 80s, and many of those magazines picked up my cars since then and been featured many, many times.
All right, now you started out with a body shop called Star Auto Body?
Pardon?
You started out with just a body shop.
Well, actually, I started out as a custom shop, and it was called Star Custom Shop, was the original name of it.
Okay.
And my intent from the very beginning, of course, was to build custom cars. That was in 1954, actually. And, of course, custom cars back in mid-America, and, of course, that was in Wichita, Kansas, and not too many people really knew what custom cars was all about at that point. So I had to do a lot of body work, of course, to eat to stay alive the first few years. But my intent was always to build custom cars.
And we're showing the picture right now of the 58 Chevrolet you built, a bubble top car. Tell us a little bit about that, if you can.
Right, that was called the Fantabula. I built that for a fellow down in New Orleans that was at the hairdresser for the Playboy Club in New Orleans back in them days. That was in 1963 I built that car. And it was actually a 58 Chevy, two-door, and I made it into bubble top, actually, and had stick steering. Of course, the body was totally restored or restyled, and the interior was all restyled, and so it was a pretty unique car for that day.
Now, and that's one of the things that also got you a lot of fame was the stick steering. You did that on more than one car, but these cars were so futuristic, they even gave you an award for building customs of the future.
Right.
Now, how did you come up with the idea of doing bubble tops?
Well, actually, my intent when I was in high school actually was to be an aeronautical engineer. My dad worked at Boeing Airplane Company there in Wichita, Kansas, and of course his idea for my future was to be an aeronautical engineer. And I actually went to university for 100 hours and dropped out to start up my shop. Well, anyway, in that time I had worked at Boeing Airplane Company part-time or evening shift, actually, while I went to college in the daytime. And so the aircraft influence was actually the beginning of the bubble top in my mind, anyway. And when I got around to the point where I could actually build one, I actually ran on the guy who had worked at Bell Helicopter down in Fort Worth, Texas, and he told me the general principle of how the bubble top was made. So that was kind of the way it started, and of course that was in 1959, so that was early times.
Wow. God, that is amazing. Darryl, this is Bruce from Speed Scene Live, and once about 25 years ago, I had to deal with bubble top construction similar to what the Batmobile has. And so, it's not a full bubble top. It's just a couple of windshields front and back. But,
Right.
yeah, that is an art. The ability to bend and twist that Lexan or plexiglass or whatever you're using without distorting the vision so badly out the front and the back that you can't use it as a windshield.
Right. Actually, the method I use is not actually a mold, or as most people think, they're molded. And probably the bubble top or the windshield and back glass on the Batmobile was probably molded or vacuum formed. But mine is actually a different process altogether. It's a free-blown method, and it doesn't actually touch anything or hit anything that distorts the vision. Whenever plastic is hot and it touches and cools quick on the surface, it distorts the vision. So my method is that I don't really, it blows like a balloon in essence. Mm-hmm. Of course, it's in a tool that takes its shape, but it doesn't actually touch anything when it blows up except a restrictor down the middle, which sometimes gives me the double effect. And so it's a unique process, and but it works very well and makes perfect vision out of the bubble tops.
Now, you talked about your museum. You touched on that. That is open to the public, and why don't you tell everybody where that is? It's about 40,000 square foot of museum.
Right, and it's in Afton, Oklahoma, which is about 60 miles north of Tulsa, Oklahoma on I-44, and it's right on old I-66, Route 66. So, and it has we have 52 cars on display. Like I say, about 30 of them are cars I've built over the years, and of course I have about a dozen Bubblotop cars in the museum, so you can really get an idea of all the different shapes and styles that the Bubbletop has taken over the years that I've done. And in fact, I have a book out called The Bubbletop King, and it has all my Bubblotop cars, featured very prominently in the book. So you can really see what Bubbletops are all about.
Now, your first car that hit this, that I remember, was the 55 Plymouth that you built.
Uh-huh.
And then I can remember seeing the 59 Buick later on cruising around. But your cars were definitely striking. How did you build these for yourselves initially, or were they customer builds?
Well, actually both. The 55 Plymouth you talked about, I actually built for a guy named Jack Lindsay, and his father actually owned a dealership there in town, a Plymouth dealership. He brought that car to me in 55, a brand new car, and
wow.
I actually built it for him, and he got the car as a graduation present from his father. So,
oh, man.
But I fully customized it. Of course, like you say, it was on the cover of Hot Rod magazine.
Yeah, you were at the cutting edge of all this. You got involved with the customizing, and your cars were far more radical than most. Didn't you start touring with some of these cars later on?
Oh, certainly, yeah. In fact, I toured probably almost every major city in the United States in the last years, as well as, like I said earlier, I even toured through Europe with a dozen of my cars. And I've been to Canada and Mexico and everywhere, toured over the years with the cars. So, yeah, it's been. I had a big truck with 5 cars that we hauled around, called the Star Car Caravan, and so we ended up going to many, many cities. So, yeah, they've been all over, actually.
Now, what a lot of people may not know, besides building the cars, you were the man behind a lot of the major shows. You got involved with the show, sir. You did the Oakland Roadster Show. You took it over.
Right. I actually owned the Grand National Roadster Show for 18 years. I bought it from Al Sloniker, the guy that originally started the Oakland Roadster Show. And then I sold it later, 18 years later, of course. And now they've moved it down to Pomona. Of course, originally it was in Oakland, where I had it, of course. And but, yeah, it's a great show, and probably one of the biggest and best shows in the country today, so it does very well. That
and the show you put on back there where you're at, you've got a custom car show you put on every year. Are you still putting that show on back there in Oklahoma?
Right. It's in Tulsa, Oklahoma, and it's the biggest car show around. It holds 1,000 cars inside of a building, and which is unbelievable to have a building like that, but it's on the Tulsa Fairgrounds here in Tulsa, Oklahoma. It was actually built as a big exposition building for the oil rig industry. So, but they, now I use it as a car show. Actually, that show is 52 years old this year, so I've been doing it 52 years, actually.
Wow. And you're still going strong. Now, the other thing you did to recognize all the people that are involved in custom cars, you started the Custom Car Hall of Fame, did you not?
Right, and like to say, it honors all the different builders over the years. We inducted 13 of the original guys into the Hall of Fame, and many of their cars have been on display. We celebrated our 20th anniversary this year. Matter of fact, 20 years it's been on now. So we've had about every major car that the different builders have built over the years, as well as inducted 47 different people into the Hall of Fame now, all famous in the custom car world. So it's they all have their own displays in the museum and have a wall that shows their different cars and accomplishments they've done over the years. So it's quite a sight to see. You can come and go through the thing and spend 2 or 3 or 4 hours looking at all the pictures and the paraphernalia and the cars, and it's an adventure in itself.
I could imagine. And again, where can they find out more information about this? You have a website, right?
Right, DarrylStarbird.com. get on the web there, and it shows a lot of the cars, shows a lot of the interior of the museum as well as the history of it. And like I say, I have the book, The Bubbletops King, which is on sale, so you can buy it and learn all the history of the museum and myself and the cars that we've done.
Okay, and you can get that right at your website, correct?
Right, that's right on the website.
Fantastic. Darryl, I do appreciate you calling in. Thank you very much. And I'll tell you what, it's going to be on my bucket list to come see your museum. I got to do that.
You know that's true.
Oh, man. Yeah, I'm looking at the stuff and the pictures and the cars. And I remember as a kid, especially the model car of the T-Bird. I
Right.
built that one.
Monogram, of course, did 15 of my cars, original cars, into model cars. And and they're still on sale today. And, we've sold like 5 million model cars over the last 50 years or so. Of course, Mattel made many of the cars into Hot Wheels also. So.
I remember that.
Yeah, and then you were an advisor to Monogram, were you not?
Oh, yeah. Like I say, I advised them, and they actually had me build original cars for them as well as cars I'd already built, and we made them into model cars, of course.
Fantastic. Darryl, thank you very much for calling in. We do appreciate it. And guys, check out his website. Check out the museum. And I'm going to get that book. I've got to do that.
Nice.
I've got the Bubbletop cars are just always enamored.
Darryl, thank you so much for calling in.
Well, thank you very much.
Take care now.
Appreciate it very much.
The Bubbletop King. How
There you
cool
go.
is that?
Wow.
Man.
And I remember that. I remember that Hot Wheels cars. That's
Oh,
the
yeah.
one I remember, with the bubble top. How cool. Everybody wanted that Hot Wheels car.
Yeah.
Yeah, and these shapes, it's the thing. A customizer looks at these cars and goes, "Man, I want to get out in the shop and start doing
That's
something."
it. And that is the way the car I saw. It was sitting in a gas station in front of Galpin Ford, which is a big Ford dealership here in California. And there was a gas station right on the corner. That was sitting out in front. And I'm driving down, and I go, "Oh, man, look at that." Plump. And I found the back of a Buick.
The story of him getting a brand new car.
Yeah.
I know.
And then cutting it up, doing this whole thing,
Yeah.
repainting a brand new paint job,
Wow.
and it just goes for some kid graduating.
Yeah.
His dad really
come
was
on.
proud of him graduating.
Apparently.
Wait a minute. How proud could he be? He bought him a Plymouth.
There you go.
Just kidding.
Always flying the
I've
ointment.
got a soft spot in my head for Plymouths, and I've had one for 35 years.
There you go. Bob
Soft
drives a
spot.
Plymouth, so
Yes.
it's Plymouth fans. It's all good, baby.
Soft
Yeah.
spot in the wallet.
That's it.
Let's switch gears now. We were talking to Jeg Coughlin at the top of the hour. We got a chance to talk to the Bubbletop King. Now let's go to the King of Sportsman Racer. Well, he's not really calling himself that, but
Not yet.
I call
Give
him
him time.
that. Tommy Phillips. He's a multiple winner. Dynamite. He's got a pile of Wallys that you would just
I'm
die
jealous.
for.
I'm drooling.
Multiple world champion. Why don't you bring Mr. Tommy Phillips on the show?
Tommy, welcome to Speed Scene Live.
Well, good evening. How are you?
We're doing good, Tommy. Can you hear us okay?
Can hear you just fine.
Good. Now, I understand you've been having a great year. In fact, you just recently won the Super Comp out at Kansas.
Yeah, we've had a really good start to the year. It's been an odd year down here with a lot of rain in our area, and so a lot of rescheduling, that sort of stuff. But, yes, we've been really fortunate so far this year. We've got some really good cars, and always have good people involved with my team, so that puts a lot of pressure on me, and so far I've done okay.
Yeah, you can't mess up because you got nobody to blame but yourself. It's-
Yeah.
yeah.
Absolutely.
Now, for people that don't know, of course, you're well known for your Super Gas and Super Comp, but recently you've also added a little bit more to the game, right?
Yeah, back years ago in the late 90s, I did run stock eliminator one time, just off the cuff, thought I'd try it, and did pretty well. Finished number 2 that year, and just went back to what I was doing. And I've always wanted to run super stock, and so I bought a car actually about 3 years ago. I've had it a while, just haven't had a lot of opportunity to run it. So we've done some testing and playing and trying to do a little bit of running at home before I go out to the national event stage and completely embarrass myself.
Well, I doubt you'd embarrass yourself,
No.
but your problem is you've got too much time. You're spending too much time winning races in Super Comp and Super Gas. And, that is time consuming. You got to haul those Wallys back. And, you're constantly getting back in the car because you're going round after round. And
tiring.
Now,
I have a lot of issues, but none of those are on my list.
No, you don't complain about those, huh? Well, I got the opportunity to meet you in person out at Pomona one year, and it was very nice. And you're running a very professional operation. Before we get off track, why don't you talk a little bit about the companies that are sponsoring you and helping you be so successful?
Well, we again, like anything in business and life, it's all about the people you're involved with, and I'm incredibly lucky to have some of the people with my team. As you probably know, we've been on your show before, and you can see my race team has had a little bit of a revamp, and we've had some new major sponsors come on board. And with Ortec Energy Technologies and Wood Racing, those are oil field companies in the Texas, Oklahoma area predominantly. And they've injected a lot of new life into our program, and they show up at a lot of our races, and that's been a great addition to, of course, the CBS ArcSafe folks, and K&N Filters, APD Carburetors, Capco Contractors. A lot of people know them from the Top Fuel team with Steve Torrance. Those are people I grew up with racing here in East Texas. So, and then of course Sunset Performance. All those people have really stepped up and been a huge part of our success. Many of them have been with me all along. The CBS ArcSafe people, 20-plus years altogether. So great people. Like I said, you get that good of people and that good of equipment, and puts a lot of pressure squarely on my shoulders. And so, but I enjoy it. It's a challenge, and it'd probably be boring if it wasn't.
No, not at all. Tommy, now you've got to step in from one car to another car. Are you going to run all these cars, all the classes? I mean, in Pomona you ran two.
We'll just run the two, and we'll swap out, but just two at any one event. We do have 4 cars at every event. My 2 dragsters, and I have another driver, Riley Ledbetter, that drives the other dragster. And I'll run my 2 cars, and we haul a 4th car, usually a super gas car. And the owner of Wood Racing, Buddy Wood, a lot of times he'll fly in and run that car. So I have my hands full on dialing and maintenance and all that sort of stuff, because I do dial them all and keep up with that. But I've got 2 people that work for me full time, Jay and Linda Thornburg, and can't say enough for them. So we have our hands full at an event, but we have the people to take care of it. So.
Now, you've been competing in both NHRA and IHRA and doing well in both.
We've had a good year so far in IHRA. We kind of expanded out. The K&N folks and the Sunset folks really had asked us to visit and dedicate a little bit of time to the IHRA side, and have a lot of customers there, too, that don't get quite as much attention. And the IHRA is doing a really good job on the Sportsman side of what we do. So they wanted to allocate some time and some resources to attending those races and supporting them. And a good friend of mine that I grew up with and have raced with, even really still today, Frank Cahotek, is the division director down here in our area. So he's easy to work with, and we get a lot accomplished going to those races. So we've been fortunate. We've won 2 or 3 of those races, and are leading the points in Super Rod, and so we're pretty excited about that too.
Well, now, I don't want to get you in trouble here, okay? And but I do want to ask you, what are your impressions of comparing running IHRA and NHRA? What kind of things can you say without getting kicked out of the next race?
Well, as far as the classes and the crossover, not a big deal at all there. But where it differs a lot is the car count is usually lower at the IHRA races, which to a lot of people that don't go to them would seem to make that easier. Actually, that's the opposite, because you have a smaller basket of racers, and they're all, they're really good at what they do. So it's actually more difficult. But what really makes it hard for our team on the IHRA side because of that is that we don't get a lot of turnaround time. And when you've got 4 cars at an event, it's just very difficult to get everything done and back up there. But I will say, from the marketing side of it, which is what we do a lot of, they're very, very easy to work with. Very much a growth-oriented, growth-minded company, much like the NHRA was 20 years ago when I started. And they're really hungry. So they're out there doing all they can do for the sportsman racer and looking out for their marketing partners. We do several different programs with them, and the feedback that I'm getting from my people is that they're loving the IHRA side of it. Now, of course, I'm a long-time NHRA racer, and I'm just a drag racer. I just like drag racing, like a lot of us. But there is a lot to like about the IHRA. Of course, the NHRA is still the, if you will, the big stage, and that's where most of our marketing dollars and resources are allocated to. But the IHRA folks are doing a really good job.
Now you and Luke Bugacki, am I saying the name right?
Bogacki.
Bogacki, yeah, I always struggle with that. He was actually at the Ultimate 64, and he won the Friday 10K race. So everyone knows he's an excellent racer, and he has his own This Is Bracket Racing website where he helps racers become better racers. But you and Luke have been putting on some seminars recently. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, Luke and I go back a long way. He's 10 years younger than me, so when he was graduating high school, he actually worked for me a little bit and had kind of a mentor role with him. Obviously, he's gone far beyond what most sportsman racers do, and so anyway, he's done a great job on his own. But our relationship actually goes back a long ways, and he's from my area. He doesn't live here now, but he's from my area, and so we have a lot in common in our mindset, not only with marketing and racing and customer relationship type stuff. We think very similarly, so it was kind of a natural thing. We've done schools together before, bracket racing type schools on track, and thought we'd get together and do a few superclass seminars. We're only doing 4, and we both have a pretty busy schedule, that is, so we're only doing 4 this year, but they've gone fantastic so far. The students, if you will, our fellow racers that have attended, they've been fantastic. The interaction's been good. The feedback afterwards been good. I feel like they're learning a lot, and we have a lot of information to pass along. Both of us see well beyond trying to keep every piece of information proprietary and to ourselves, and we're well beyond that. So it doesn't bother us to share all of our information and try to help some of our racers, get better. And Luke's 10 years younger than I, but for me, I just know I had a lot of help when I got started racing. A lot of really good people helped me for no other reason, just they wanted to. And so, like in life, you need to give back and you need to support what you love. And there's nothing more, other than my family, of course, that I love more than drag racing. So anything I can do to help those around me and to keep our sport healthy, mainly, that both of us that's our mindset.
Has anyone that you've helped beat you at a race?
Oh, I've lost to about everybody. So, you've raced as long as I have. Everybody's beat you, but it's been a little bit, funny. The first 2 schools we've had were the Dallas Division race and the Topeka National event. I won both of those events, so I told Luke, hey, well, maybe we should do a dozen of these. So maybe I'm learning more than I'm teaching, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, remedial training for you, huh?
Absolutely.
Well, people always remember when you win, Tommy. I've had people say that to me. Oh, man, you win all the time. No, you just don't notice when I lose. I lose way more than I win.
Yeah, you just never notice when you lose.
In our school, it's funny you say that. In our school, one of the things that we really try to get people to understand and accept is that I use the baseball analogy all the time, is that this year when whoever wins the batting title, the best hitter in the land, the one person, nobody can hit a baseball better than that guy. He's going to get out 65% of the time. So we kind of use that analogy in the school and make people understand that it's really hard what we do, and so you can't get lost in the the losses and enjoy the few moments that you have when you get to stand in the winter.
You know, and that's what I tell everybody when I'm drag racing and I make it through first round. I'm like, hey, I'm better than 50% of the people out there.
There you go.
And
yeah.
I feel really good that I made it through first round. And I tell my people that did the same thing, feel good about yourself.
Yeah, statistical analysis, yes.
That's right.
Absolutely, and so much of our sport, honestly, it really is mental because we're dealing in such small increments of time and so many different things going on at one time, and especially with my program. And Luke's is similar, where, you know, at any event we may have from a dozen to as many as 60 people there from either CBS ArcSafe or K&N or the Ortec company, you know, people that are vendors, customers, representatives in that particular area, and we may be feeding them or just doing a meet and greet or whatever, and you have all that stuff going on. And so, you know, I love it. I really do love it, but sometimes you get lost in all that. And so when you are fortunate enough to get to hold that trophy up, you just kind of look back at that and think, yeah, it was all worth it. I wasn't sure it was worth that at the time, but it's definitely worth it.
Well, you mentioned the seminars. We talked about that, you know, and I liked how you said you got to give back. You know, you got to give back. You got to help other people. When's your next seminar? Is that the one coming up in Brainerd?
No, we'll do one in Sonoma. And then we do one in Indy. So those are the only two we have left this year.
Well, it sounds like a good deal, and it's nice that you're doing them all over the country, so gives a lot of people opportunities to take place. You know, people in Sonoma that can't afford to fly back east. Well, face it, anybody in Sonoma can afford to fly back east. Come on. That wine country, that's good to those people. Hey, tell us a little bit about your Lone Star Summer Shootout that you have every year.
Well, we just started doing that last year, so we've had 2 events, and it was a little bit of a natural progression for me, at least I think it is. I really enjoy the marketing side of drag racing in our business and people and companies, and so I kind of went out on a limb and wanted to put together an event, and the guy who owns the racetrack out there in Abilene, Texas, it's a small 8-mile track, can only hold about 200 cars or maybe 220. He's a longtime supporter of my race team, and so when I called him and said, hey, I think I want to do a race, and you know, are you interested? And I think he was maybe more nervous than I was, at least until the day of the event. And so I sat down. I spent a lot of time, about 4 or 5 months, just kind of piecing through together what myself as a racer liked and didn't like, and then flipped it to the promoter side and said, okay, well, having that information, what works? How can I make this work? And so what we did is tried to keep a localized type program where we weren't drawing people from all over the country, and pay really good money, and mainly to pay further down in the payout, not just all at the top, and provide a lot of different ways for folks to win money and prizes. And so I called up all the companies that I always deal with, and man, they were all in, and so we got some marketing partners involved, and we're able to we pay really good money, pay way down, and just about everybody that comes to the race has 3 or 4 opportunities to win different things. We have some special shootout races, and I was nervous the day of because I thought, oh my gosh, I've got about $80,000 worth of payout here. What if 10 people show up? And that didn't happen. And last year we had
how many people showed up?
We had 185 the first year, and just about 180 this year.
Wow,
so,
that's good. That's
awesome.
good. And where can people go to get info on the next one?
It has its own Facebook page. It's the Lone Star Summer Shootout, and won't be a whole lot on there for the next month or 2, but we'll start working on the marketing side of it probably in September, something like that, after Indy. And so we'll start posting stuff about the following year's race and what we might do, and we're looking at doing maybe a high rollers race where we just give away a complete running dragster where you can win it on Friday and race it on Saturday.
Impressive.
so we'll see.
Well, how many Wallys do you have, Tommy?
I have a total of 71.
Oh, my
71.
God. That's just wrong. That is wrong.
And how many of those are world champion Wallys?
Actually, I noticed that on your intro. I've actually never won a championship.
Oh, you're kidding. I thought for sure.
I've been number 2 6 times and in the top 10.
Oh, so that's probably a touchy question bringing that up. I'm sorry about that, Tom. I didn't mean I didn't mean to bring it.
Okay. Well, you know what? I'm jealous. We don't have any Wallys amongst the 4 of us here.
Yeah.
So, you know, congratulations to you.
I've seen one.
Oh, thank you. I just, you know what, I just love drag racing, and so, you know, I'm fortunate on the success side of it, but with all these other things and the people I've met through the years, and it's just been fantastic.
Now, when you're number 2, do you consider that you did well because you were number 2, or are you disappointed that you didn't bring in the number 1?
Truthfully, when I was younger, I was disappointed. Might be mild. I was mad. But you know, as I've gotten older, you know what? For the last 8 or 10 years, we work really hard at what we do. I can't possibly put another minute in and make our cars better, our people better. So I'm doing every possible thing I can do. So it doesn't bother me. It's not true. But I do accept that I'm doing everything I can do. So it'll either all work out one day or it won't. But I know whenever the day is that it's over, I know I'll look back and go, there's nothing else I could have done. I did everything I could do.
Well, that's spoken like a true champion, Tommy. And you know what? That's really what what makes a man right there. Hey, I want to thank you for calling in. We're at the top of the hour. It's been great talking to you. And you know what? I just feel like this is your year, this year. I mean, you've had a great year. You're on a roll. I think you're just going to go all the way this year, Tommy.
Well, thanks. I hope you're right. And maybe if you can come out to Pomona, maybe we can meet one more time, and maybe I can say, hey, man, you were right.
Yeah, we'll try that. We'll try that. Thanks again for calling in, and we'll talk to you later.
Thank you guys for having me. Good night.
Thank you.
My pleasure. Well, you know, it took us to the top of the show. We didn't even have time for commercials, and I know Diana's disappointed when we don't get the commercials.
You know, I always love to thank our sponsors because without them, there would be no Speed Scene Live.
Well,
right?
That's true, and you know, we asked Tommy about his sponsors, and we made sure that he had the opportunity to talk about them. And you know what? Next week, we got a bunch of cool stuff coming up. Yeah. That vintage 760 class that Bruce was talking about.
Yeah.
You know, he's got his thumb on the world of drag racing, that Bruce Barker.
Only one.
It's my Tyrannosaurus Rex thumb.
He can't use the rest of the arm because he's broken, but he can use the thumb, and he puts that everywhere.
That's right, man.
Hey,
look out for the thumb.
We ain't going there.
Don't tell Sarah.
We're gonna have Dina Parisi on. She's gonna be talking about her Pro Mod. She's got this great Cadillac Pro Mod.
That's gorgeous.
Beautiful car. It's running good. Of course, like a regular racer, she says it's not fast enough.
Yeah.
But it's plenty.
What do you mean,
fast.
like a regular racer? Lucky?
Well, you know,
a regular. She's
someone who races
badass chick that races an awesome.
I didn't mean it in a negative way. I meant just like every other racer.
Okay, great.
That's what I should have said. Sorry, Dina. Don't get Dina
slap
pissed at
him
me.
around next time you see him.
No. I can't take that kind of heat. No. So we're going to talk to her about her career, and we've got a bunch of cool stuff. You know, we're going to talk to Dale Poldy, all kinds of cool stuff. Stay tuned. Speed Scene Live. We'll be back next week. Right, Bruce?
That is correct, sir. As
right, Diana?
I hope so, Lucky.
Yeah. I hope so.
Well, one of you will be back. Let's put it that way.
Yeah. Somebody will. Bob, you'll be back, won't you?
I will be back, yes. Beck will be back.
And Beck will be back. Meantime, the encore presentation. You know what that means? The show you are watching the end of starts all over again in case you missed any of that stuff. And yes, we'll be back a week from right now, right here at Speed Scene Live. Good night, everybody.
Speed Scene Live
TV, the #1 online motorsports TV show. Brought to you by Curry Racing Rear Ends, M&H Tires, Hedman Hustler Headers, Aeromotive Fuel Systems, and thefoat.com.